Greetings, fellow classic TV fans, and welcome to the Golden Rage of TV Live. I'm your host, Pat McCormack. Here we like to take a fond look back at some of our old favorite classic TV shows, and in the case of today, an entire genre, the Westerns. So we're going to get started in a second here, but first I wanted to thank you guys for joining me on my last live stream. It was last week, with the amazing Jerry Mathers, the Beaver himself. I wanted to let you know that he and his lovely wife, Teresa, watched the live stream, which we recorded the night before. So they were able to sit back and relax and check it out. And I wanted to let you know they saw all your comments and were very touched by all the sweet things that you guys had to say. And so just wanted to let you all know that. So, yeah, where are we going? First, I think what I'm going to do is just check out what my friends are doing. Who's here? Whoa. Well, I don't think I'm going to get to everybody. I see Karen Lee Maloney. I see Hungry Jerk Tom. Kevin Davis is here. Lance Chafin. Daryl Johnson. Zoperplex. Who else we got? Who else? Don Nichols is here. Hey, buddy. Custom God. I like that one. That's a great moniker because he's custom. Hi, Georgia Ayers. Good to see you. I see you here. Yay. And so I'm kind of not so stressed out about this one because I'm not interviewing anyone. So theoretically, I'll be able to put up a bunch of your chats. We're going to take a look at why, when I thought I was a total sci-fi and fantasy comedy guy, that I discovered in reality, I'm a Westerns guy. And how do I know this? Well, I went back through my catalog on this channel, and I think when you guys see what I've got to show you, you'll likely agree. So anyway, I say we get this started with well, I'm also thinking if anybody's just joining us right now, you're probably wondering,
what in the wide world of sports is going on here?
And I'll tell you, we're talking about Westerns. So what I want to do is get it started with a bang. That's a pun. That's a pun intended. But maybe it's more like a boom. Anyway, what you're going to see is I know a lot about Maverick. James Garner, man, he was just the best. Maybe it seems like I know a lot. But I have to tell you, this video was done eons before the invention of a teleprompter.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. The late, great James Garner played in a classic. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. The late, great James Garner. The late, great James Garner played classic TV. James Garner played a classic TV character known as classic TV character, and the legendary Roger Moore played, and the legendary, to name a few, there was Buddy Epson, Alan Hale. To name a few, there was Buddy Epson, Alan Hale. To name a few, there was Buddy Epson, Alan Hale Jr., Don Wells. To name a few, there was Buddy Epson, Mike Connors, Alan Hale Jr. Just to name a few, Buddy Epson, Mike Connors, Alan Hale Jr. Buddy Epson, Mike Connors, Alan Hale Jr., Don Wells. And just to name a few, there was Buddy Epson, Don Wells, and Adam West. Buddy Epson, Alan Hale Jr., Mike Connors, Don West, Buddy Epson, Alan Hale Jr. One more time. Great.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. That didn't hurt much, actually. And I'm lying. Didn't plan that. Somebody actually, I think, pulled it out from under me. But anyway, when I decided to do this, I thought I would put up a couple of polls on my channel for folks to kind of tell me which shows first were their favorites. And let's keep in mind, folks, at the end of the 50s, and specifically 1959, according to Wikipedia, there were 30 Westerns on primetime per week. 30. So I guess it would be pretty easy to pick your favorite, but I kind of went with the more common ones here. So let's see what came up from that. Wagon Train got some votes. Laramie didn't do as good as I thought, and I know a lot of people love that. Alias Smith and Jones, which I loved, yeah, did okay. But of course, the Wild Wild West kicks butt. The Virginian, not too far behind. And then as we move down, you see, I'll give it up right now, my favorite Western, which was The Big Valley. It did okay, but then you got these other two monstrous shows, Bonanza and Gunsmoke. And, they almost tied. Rifleman was a great show too, and I'm glad it scored something. But what was kind of shocking to me was the High Chaparral with only 4% of the vote. That was a little disappointing because I loved that show. But one thing I liked the best about it was the theme song. As a matter of fact, I said it and I'll say it again. It could be my favorite TV theme song of all time. But it was pretty clear I could have put up a lot more, but they only give you so much room. And yeah, Bonanza takes the cake here. Wild Wild West was great, but I really loved the theme from Rawhide. I listen to it and I just get covered in Rawhide. I like that one too. But no, High Chaparral. And folks, if you haven't listened to that in a while, Google it up or YouTube it up and just hear how wonderful that piece of music is. I loved it. So since Bonanza won the poll of not only favorite Western, but favorite theme song. Oh, and speaking of the theme song, I actually got to know towards the end of the 80s when I was at the Hollywood Musicians Institute, where I did some schooling. The great Tommy Tedesco was one of the celebrity teachers that would hang around the school, and he played that. As a matter of fact, he played many of these classic TV songs as a member of the Wrecking Crew, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. And by the way, there's a great documentary on them. Look it up, The Wrecking Crew. It's amazing. But again, talking about Bonanza, I could talk about Bonanza, but I'll just let this guy do it.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. We all know the big, lovable bear of a man, Dan Blocker, as Hoss Cartwright on Bonanza. For a total of 13 seasons from 1959 to 72, Dan played this larger-than-life character. With westerns seeming to be his specialty, he left a huge legacy on classic TV. For instance, he appeared on shows like Wagon Train, Have Gun Will Travel, and Cheyenne. He also appeared on Gunsmoke, Maverick, The Rifleman, and many more. His reputation off-camera was that of a friendly, humble man, much like his character on Bonanza. In contrast to the slightly dim-witted Hoss, Dan was actually a highly educated man with a degree in English and a master's degree in dramatic arts. His two sons followed in his showbiz footsteps. Dirk Blocker currently plays Detective Hitchcock on NBC's hit Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and his brother David is also an executive producer. In 1979, Michael Landon and Lauren Green bought a stretch of beach in Malibu and donated it back to the state in Dan's memory, which to this day is still recognized as Dan Blocker Beach.
I know. It said it was about Bonanza, and let's face it, he was the most popular.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
What I meant to say was, this one's about Dan Blocker. Yes, of course, Lauren Green, Michael Landon. Oh, come on, somebody help me. The guy that played Adam. It slips my mind. See, I'm a historian. I should know this stuff. It'll come to me. He played Trapper John M.D., and it's going to be all over the comments right now, I'm sure. As a matter of fact, Who am I talking about, folks? Come on. Whoa, didn't want that. I don't care what the weather's like here. Thank you. Okay. Pernell Roberts. Thank you, Tom Lemery. Jeez, sometimes these things just slip your mind. They do. I was doing the Leave It to Beaver interview, and I forgot the name of Eddie Haskell, Ken Osmond. It just slipped. That's why you keep notes and read teleprompters. But as I just showed you, if you don't have a teleprompter, it can be dangerous. So let's move on to another one of the favorites, as the poll showed, which was the Wild Wild West. Western sci-fi. Would you agree? I mean, that's how I felt, or spy-fi. Western spy-fi? Is that a genre? Well, let's see what this guy has to say about it.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Did you know that Robert Conrad almost got the role of Anthony Nelson on I Dream of Jeannie? But fortunately for us, he got the part of James West on the Wild Wild West. And they were also considering the Wild West West. I wonder if they thought of how the West was wild. Well, eventually they settled with the Wild Wild West, and the sci-fi western was off and running. And the successful show ran from 1965 to 1969. But of course, because it was successful, they had to do a big screen remake. This movie, starring Will Smith and Kevin Kline, was trashed by the critics. Will Smith is on record for regretting it, but Robert Conrad protested the making of the film from the beginning. Of course, the movie went on to win 5 Razzie Awards, which of course are given out to the worst films of the year. And just to drive his point home, Robert Conrad attended the Razzies and accepted the awards.
Yeah, I guess he didn't like it. I saw it. I thought maybe it could have been better. But yeah, that's the thing with these big screen versions of these classic TV series. It's hit and miss, it seems. I can't actually, off the top of my head, think of one that was really that great. The Star Trek movies were pretty darn good, I gotta say. And hopefully Rob Zombie will be doing a good job with Our Munsters, which I'd heard is only going to come out on Netflix. Not sure about that, but yeah, that's fine. I got a big TV. The previews look pretty good. So let's see. What do we got going on here? The Wild Wild West. You know what I loved about that show, which I'm sure many of you also, was how it would freeze frame at the end of each segment and have that become part of the collage. Just again, these were brilliant writers, and the acting was second to none. But of course, the sets on the Wild Wild West were just outrageous. I mean, they took advantage of the hypercolor that, of course, our good friend Batman made famous, and it worked. Of course, it started in black and white, which, let's face it, all those Westerns that we knew and loved were in black and white initially, except for maybe The Big Valley. I don't know if Bonanza was in black and white initially or not, but, the color didn't bother me. And me, I like black and white too. So it works, especially, and this is a big point when it comes to Westerns, if they were filming outside, the outdoor scenes, which, if you go on location, you got Lake Tahoe behind you, that's just going to win. As opposed to the soundstage where you're hearing echo in people's, in the Lone Ranger's voice. Of course, again, most of the early ones also used outside sets, which I thought was great. So one of the other things that I just absolutely loved about it. Okay, so let's see what we're talking about here in the chat. All right. Bonanza was never in black and white. Okay, here, I'm going to put this up. It was never in black and white, says John H. It premiered in color in 1959 to help NBC sell RCA color TV sets. Yes, I remember hearing that. Amazing, how we all switched to color. And I know they were doing color shows very early, but you had to be pretty rich to be able to find anything that could play it back, let alone the fact that it was done over the airwaves. It was all very complex. So let's see. What else do we have here? Ross. Ross has a good, oh no, this is Daryl, I'm sorry. Why did Ross Martin leave the Wild Wild West show? And the answer is he had a heart attack during production. The man who played Artemis Gordon missed 9 episodes in 1968 after suffering a heart attack. Now, I ask you folks, do I not have the most informed followers? I just love this. You guys always, when I put new videos out, what you add to my channels is it embellishes to my episodes. It embellishes everything. And I really appreciate that. Don't ever stop, please. Anytime you want to correct me, you can stop. But again, I was at school in LA, and one of my favorite things to do was to come home and watch these shows for that hour that I had for my lunch break. And again, High Chaparral. I had no idea that show was as good as it was. And, of course, we're talking up against Gunsmoke and these ones that were on the show, on the air forever. Matter of fact, let me see what I got here on Gunsmoke. Here's one on, well, close enough.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. When you think of the TV Western Gunsmoke, who do you think of? Why, James Arness, of course. After World War II, Arness got a suggestion by his younger brother, Peter Graves, to become a radio announcer. And so, as his first small step into showbiz, James began his career at WLOL Radio in Minneapolis. The next step reportedly involved hitchhiking to Hollywood to break into the movies. Arness landed his first role in the 1947 film, The Farmer's Daughter. As he earned more parts in what was mainly westerns, he struck up a lifelong friendship with the king of the genre, John Wayne. When offered the TV role of Marshal Dillon, Arness turned it down flat, feeling like the big screen was his true calling. But his friend and mentor, Mr. Wayne, told him he'd be crazy to pass it up. This turned out to be pretty good advice. Beginning in 1955 and for the next 20 years plus, James Arness played the iconic Matt Dillon, appearing in all 635 episodes of Gunsmoke. This gave him the distinction of having the leading role in one of the longest-running TV dramas ever. His character wore a star on his chest, and thanks to Gunsmoke, James Arness earned his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Man, what an icon, huh? That's just incredible how he got that gig and didn't want it. So, way to go, John Wayne, and thank you. I kind of shied away from Gunsmoke. I mean, I liked watching Gunsmoke because of Festus. He was the great comic relief, of course, Ken Curtis. But I will say, I watched an episode with Manuel Padilla, if you guys might remember him as Tarzan in Tarzan, and many, many other shows. But it wasn't in Dodge City. They were in Dodge City, right? He was on the road in Mexico, and I just kind of fell into the episode. And, as a good drama, and especially Western dramas, they did this. You turned them on. You didn't know what it was about. You didn't really care. And next thing you know, you're full on in. I mean, it's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And that episode was probably the best episode of a Western I'd ever seen. And can I tell you which one it was? Of course not. Something tells me these guys can. My Friends. Anybody know what that was called? Yeah, Manuel. Yeah, Manuel Padilla. He played Boy on Tarzan. That's correct. He was also in American Graffiti. Did some appearances on Happy Days as well. Great actor. Died very young, tragically. Not by his own hand. Just had a health problem that suddenly just took him. Anyway, let's move along. These guys, folks, great to see you. I see BK's here. Where do I know this guy? Yeah, sitting here at the ranch. Well, I have only. Wait a minute. You say you're sitting at the ranch? There's only one thing to say to that, and I'm not sure what it is. Hold on. I know what to say to that.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Yeah, you guys are going to get sick of that before I'm done. One of the greatest movie references to a classic TV show ever, done by one of the best comedic, was he comedic? Yes. Western actors ever, the good old Slim Pickens. I mean, just his name was funny. But of course, that was from Blazing Saddles. Who could forget Blazing Saddles, a movie that could never be shown today, sadly. But let's see what folks are saying here. What do we got? Then the custom. I say custom in the comments. In the custom comments. Okay. Let's see. Man, these are interesting. I'm curious, folks, that there were so many of these shows. What ones do you think were most obscure? One that people didn't really watch, or ones that maybe you guys were like, hey, he's leaving this one out, he's leaving that one. I mean, look, there's so many. I'm definitely going to be leaving some out. This is a quick little correction. Thanks, Tom. It was actually Jai. It was Jai that Manuel Padilla played on Tarzan. So, again, where would I be without you guys? I mean, it's just great that you guys are so informed and, obviously bona fide fans of something that I love just as much as you. So let's see what I got to throw this in. I was just thinking about that, Soberplex, because I had beans the other night, and my wife was going, what am I, on the set of Blazing Saddles? Anyway, yeah, so popular. I'm so popular. Let's see, what else do we have here? Friends and family. Again, guys, I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with me. I was feeling a little lonely, but not now. Let's see, who else do we got? Well, I'm going to get back to some of this content that I made available for you. Let's see. So here was another show that when I was young, and of course, on all these shows I was young, but it just for some reason turned me off. And I had no good reason for it. I guess other than the fact that it wasn't, good guys, bad guys all the time, and shoot 'em ups, and the tension that is always present in some of the older Westerns. This had a completely different take on what the Old West was and where the drama could take place. See if you recognize this.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Wagons ho! Yep, that was the familiar catchphrase yelled out by Wagon Train star Ward Bond. Bond made his transition to classic TV, like many others, a bona fide movie star. Some of his most memorable movie roles were as Bert the cop in It's a Wonderful Life, alongside Bogart and Laurie in The Maltese Falcon, and with his good friend John Wayne in John Ford's masterpiece, The Searchers. As a matter of fact, Wagon Train was inspired by John Ford's favorite film creation, Wagon Master. Apparently, there was a debt owed to Bond by the Titan movie director, so he decided to collect. How? He asked Ford to direct an episode of Wagon Train called The Coulter Craven Story. Well, Ford repaid the debt with interest by bringing in his A-list actors, including John Carradine and John Wayne. And that being regarded as the greatest all-star cast of any TV Western episode ever, I'd say the debt was well repaid.
Yeah, sorry about that. No, Clint Eastwood was not on Wagons Ho. He, of course, was on Rawhide. And I thought I had a little something on Rawhide. You know what? I do. And since you guys brought it up, why don't we play it, punk?
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Though the streams are swollen, keep them doggies rolling. Rawhide. Better just stick with playing the guitar. But a great TV theme song will stick in your head. And if you recall, it came in pretty handy for the Blues Brothers. Of course, we're talking about the classic Western Rawhide, starring Eric Fleming and Clint Eastwood. I'm pretty sure the second guy went on to do a few more things. Rawhide ran for 8 seasons with 217 black and white episodes. This Western would at times deal with some very tough subjects. It touched on racism, drug addiction, and even post-Civil War stress syndrome. It could get kind of spooky too, with mysterious stalkers, haunted hills, curses, and of course, ghost towns. But through it all, they kept them doggies, cattle, rolling. And what we got was one of the best classic TV Westerns of all time.
And wasn't it great that they were willing to take on those tough subjects? I mean, especially in an era where, censorship was heavy in television, and, parents didn't want kids hearing of such things. I mean, drug addiction, what? It's, this is early on in classic TV, but, again, great writing. They had so much fantastic shows for so many, what am I trying to say? They had so many people in all the aspects of television production to create this just amazing genre. And unfortunately, it just kind of died off, and that was that. And well, the rural purge, I think, was also a big part of that. People just wanted to see more of the sitcom thing, or, just like I said, I became a fan of fantasy comedy. But let's see, my buddy BK. Wait, that's not BK. Sorry. BK, Pat, did you do a rockin' guitar version of Rawhide? If not, you should. Well, guess what, Barry? Almost. It was that, and I was going to do the High Chaparral. Both those would have made great golden rage of TV hard rock tributes, and I was working on it right before my ears decided to go south, and that ended that. I could play it. I think maybe someday in the future, I might actually pick up a guitar for you guys on this live stream and show you I can still kind of do it. I can do it. I just can't hear it. I mean, I can hear it, but it just kind of doesn't sound like it's supposed to me. So, folks, protect your hearing. It is funny that I bring that up because I just got a new piece of gear that should I dare give it up? Okay, big announcement. Folks, the golden rage of TV is soon going to be a podcast as well. And I got my Rodecaster Pro here, which is a great do-it-yourself unit. And what I noticed is it came with a warning sign on the headphone volume pots saying, high volume can be dangerous. I don't know exactly what it said, but I threw it away because I knew all that. But the fact is, it's headphones. Headphones can be dangerous. They're not natural, folks. Your ears need to have space between them and what you're hearing. And of course, still to this day, we record with headphones because we can't have things bleeding into the tracks, as it were. So, I think I was just the wrong era, the wrong era of volume and drums, and oh well, it's okay. Yeah, I had a friend ask me if I'd do it all again. Yes, the answer is yes. So, but if you guys are wondering about that, that is that past that I had. It is on my channel. It's you'll see the classic TV hard rock remakes, and one of them, actually, the Alfred Hitchcock theme, won a national award, not only for the arrangement and the music, but for the editing by my incredibly talented friend, Christian Taylor, who's been there with me every step of the way. We owe a lot to him, I'll tell you. We do. So let's see. What else are we talking about, gang? Let's see. Man, it's just so great to hang out with you guys, not feel like, oh my gosh, I'm interviewing somebody. I got to be on. I got to be on. I mean, I still got to be on, but I don't have to be as on. How on doozy has to be. Well, okay, here's one to talk about. Speaking of music, the young actor on this show had quite the musical career and did it for many, many years. Am I giving it up? Maybe I'm giving it up. Maybe I'll let this guy give it up. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. You know what one of my favorite TV westerns was? The Rifleman. That show had great storylines and plenty of action. But what was even cooler was that father-son bond between Lucas and Mark McCain. Both actors Chuck Connors and Johnny Crawford were so good in their roles, and Crawford even got nominated for an Emmy. Connors continued his prominent acting career after the show, but more often than not, contrasting his Rifleman character by playing a bad guy. The original Mouseketeer Johnny Crawford had 4 top 40 singing hits during the making of the show. He continued on with some more TV appearances, but his love of music never left him. Eventually, he put together his own big band, the Johnny Crawford Orchestra. During the 5-year making of The Rifleman, actors Chuck Connors and Johnny Crawford created a true bond. And 30 years later, Crawford even delivered the eulogy at Connors Memorial. Now that's what I call a friendship forged in steel. Don't you love stuff like that? I mean, that's the honest truth. They remained friends all their lives. And gosh, I just love hearing stuff like that. I think it was the same story with Brandon Cruz. Is that his name? Brandon Cruz, courtship of Eddie's father. And don't let it slip. Come on, folks. Eddie's father, Bill Bixby. I didn't need help on that, by the way. I figured it out. Yeah. They forged a friendship. I mean, obviously, many years difference, but I think when you're in that acting world, you know, the age difference kind of just goes away because you're both really on the spot at that moment. And there's no grown up, there's no child. There's only 2 great actors. And boy, Lord knows the Rifleman really had that. I mean, there was episodes of that show that I watched that actually made me cry. Of course, I cry really easy, but I know it was the quality writing too. And my goodness, it was, yeah, that was such a great show. Okay, what do we got here? Mr. Led, oh, I'm late. What did I miss? You're late. You're late. Mr. Led is late. I have only one question to ask then.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
You guys are going to hate me after this. I just love that. It's my soundbite for life. And I have used it many, many, many times. So, Mr. Led, we've been talking about classic television and, but we're talking in this case about the amazing genre of Westerns. Here, my friend BK makes the good point that Gunsmoke was the longest running Western for a reason. And again, it's that same thing, acting, writing, I guess, directing, the sets were never, I take that back. The sets were good, but again, they used a lot of the same type of, a lot of the same sets on that show. So I kind of got tired of seeing shows doing that. The Rifleman was notorious for that as well, where it's clearly a soundstage, unlike my favorite Western, which also used sound stages, but a lot of outdoor shots, the Big Valley and Bonanza. But I'm going with the Big Valley. I wonder why I went with the Big Valley as my favorite. Think of the actors, folks. Not only the great Barbara Stanwyck, but the rest of those cats were just awesome, as they proved later in their careers as well. Let's see. So what do we got here? I think I got some more videos along the subject. So what did we just watch? We just watched The Rifleman, right? All right. And wow, how did I do that? All right, I've got it all together here. Since we were just talking about the Big Valley and Gunsmoke, what better way to talk more about it?
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. You know what two of my favorite classic TV westerns were? The Big Valley and Gunsmoke. And do you know what the two shows had in common? Well, clearly they were both westerns and they both had incredible casts. But even more interesting was the amount of iconic guest stars they shared. For example, there was Bruce Dern, who played a total of 9 different characters on both shows. Robert Loggia, Charles Bronson, and Oscar winner Martin Landau also guest starred. They both had Cloris Leachman, Dennis Hopper, and Richard Dreyfuss. And classic television came well represented too. Both shows had Russell Johnson, William Shatner, and Adam West. Great storylines, lots of action, and deep drama. They both had those too.
Yeah, deep drama. That's what they were. They were dramas. Great, there'd be a shootout every now and then, but the thing that I also loved about the Big Valley was that it had my favorite TV Western cowboy on it. I mean, this guy was it for me. I'm wondering if you guys know who I'm talking about. I'll give you a second. It's pretty cut and dry. No, it wasn't Heath Barkley. It was Nick Barkley, played by the great Peter Breck. Man, I loved that guy. He just was a big old softy who was the total loose cannon, and what a great role. I mean, the way he just was kind of the complete opposite of Richard Long's Jared. I loved how they did that. The contrast on those shows. Did I not say Peter? What did I say? Did I say Peter Breck? I did say Peter Breck. Oh, Anita. I think that's your favorite too, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken, this is Anita. If I think it's Anita. Anita, yeah. Again, everybody's saying Peter Breck. You know, it's true. This guy had it down. And if I'm not mistaken, he was known for having the quickest draw of all the TV cowboys ever. Now, I don't know how they knew that, but he didn't necessarily need a gun either, right? Let's see, what did this guy, Daryl said, yeah, he was ready. Like I said, he didn't need a gun either, but as draws go, he was it. Yep, good old Peter. What a great guy, too. I heard him in real life. He was just a wonderful man. So, all right. Let's see, what else do we got for fun? Well, for fun, this is so I can get a drink of water and clear my sinuses. Enjoy this for a second, folks.
I'd like some gasoline, please.
Yes, sir.
Dennis. Dennis Day, you in a Texaco uniform?
My name is Rodney. Fill it up with New Sky, Chief, sir?
But you're Dennis Day.
It can drive down the cost of driving and save you money.
Money?
Yes, sir. New Sky Chief does one thing better than any other leading gasoline. It keeps valves like this from getting like this. You see, with fewer harmful deposits on your valves, you can get better mileage, and the chance of expensive repairs is much less.
Oh, well, in that case, I'll try a gallon.
Gee, thanks, Mr. Benny.
Wait a minute. If you're not Dennis Day, how did you know I was Jack Benny?
Who else would buy 1 gallon?
Texaco sells more gasoline than anybody else. So why a New Sky Chief gasoline? Because we're first, and we have a big responsibility to drive down your cost of driving.
You cleaned the kitchen sink.
Honey, all I did was...
Use New Blue Ajax cleanser. Get you out of the kitchen fast.
Look, pot marks take the time. Even steel wool can't do the job. But watch Ajax with blue chlorine. Just a soft sponge and pot marks gone fast.
Honey, all I did was...
Get out of the kitchen fast. Get Ajax, now in plastic, too.
Oh, don't let the hot sun dry out your hair. Better use Vitalis.
Summer's sun, the wind, the water, all make your hair dry as the desert. Your scalp becomes flaky. New Vitalis Hair Tonic with V7, the greaseless grooming discovery, stops summer dryness, keeps your hair neater all day. Vitalis gives your hair extraordinary protection from the ravages of sun, wind, and water. New laboratory findings show that even excessively dried out hair gets back its necessary moisture content faster with Vitalis than with any leading hair cream or hair oil. Yes, greaseless Vitalis with wonder-working V7 does wonders for your hair and for you, too. Get new Vitalis with V7.
If you want to make time with your girl, better use Vitalis. You know what I mean.
Neat, huh? It's the most advanced car on the road. All four wheels independently sprung. Torsion bar suspension, the greatest. The engine, air-cooled, so you never have to worry about boiling over or freezing. And it's in the rear for better traction. Stick shift, naturally. 4 forward gears. Bucket seats, well, what else? You can have it made up with a custom body like this for, $5,000–$6,000. Or you can have the same chassis with this slightly more familiar body for a lot less money. It's called a Volkswagen.
Yeah, it was a Volkswagen, the people's car. My wife actually loves those. So, most of the shows were based off of men. I mean, or families, right? That's what I picked up. That's what I felt. If it wasn't, the cowboy, it was, like I just said, families. But the fact is, there were plenty of female actors on these shows that really added to the quality. As a matter of fact, they wouldn't be those shows without them. So let's just check this out and see if you agree.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. When someone mentions the word Westerns, most immediately picture a gun-slinging cowboy. The fact is that women also helped blaze the trail of the classic TV Western. Here, I pay tribute to some of my all-time favorites. Who could deny Barbara Stanwyck as Victoria Barkley? The sheer amount of film and television credits during her 60-year career are vast. She worked the first 38 years on the silver screen by starring in up to 85 films. Considered by many to be one of the greatest actresses ever, in 1982 she received an honorary Oscar, and in '86 the Golden Globe Cecil B. DeMille Award. Portraying yet another Victoria was Argentine actress Linda Crystal from The High Chaparral. She had appeared in a number of Western films from 1967 to '71 and had won the Golden Globe for her role in 1958's The Perfect Furlough. She also won a Golden Globe for playing actor Leif Erikson's young bride, Victoria Cannon, on The High Chaparral, a role which also earned her 2 Emmy nods. F Troop featured a young Melody Patricia Patterson as Wrangler Jane. Melody was only 16 when she showed producers a fake birth certificate saying she was 18 just to get the part. Reportedly, she came clean after she landed the role, and due to the professionalism she had exhibited, they accepted the gifted actress. By the way, Melody's first husband was Hawaii Five-O's James MacArthur. Good thing Dano didn't book her for forgery. Miss Kitty Russell, half owner of the Long Branch Saloon on Gunsmoke, was played by the talented Amanda Blake. She shined easily as much as her co-stars and held down that main role on the show for all of her 19-year run. In 1968, Amanda was inducted into the Hall of Great Western Performers housed in Oklahoma City. Who could ever forget the multi-talented Dale Evans as Roy Rogers' sidekick and real-life wife? She was a self-professed cowgirl and thus a natural for the Roy Rogers show. Successful also as a singer-songwriter, it was Evans who wrote Roy's signature tune, Happy Trails. So these are my favorite choices of the women of Western's true standouts. If you feel I've missed someone, please let me know in the comments section. Happy Trails!
Do you guys feel I've missed someone? If you think about how many of those shows were on, it's like, I think he's missed someone, or more than one, or like a dozen. But that's why I do these, favorites. So I just don't take forever on my videos. You guys know I do the bite size. But I thought on this specifically, the Melody Patterson story was so amazing. So Wrangler Jane was a great addition to F Troop, but the fact that she lied her way on that show is amazing. That's called true determination, folks. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure things as far as checking backgrounds and IDs, all that was a little bit less important in those days. And you know what? They found out, but it's also great that they didn't go, oh, you've been on this show for this amount of time, and now we know you're too young to be here. Get out. Instead, right? They went, we'll make it work. You're amazing. So, here's a great comment. Linda Crystal was really funny when she was yelling at Manolito in Spanish on High Chaparral, of course. Manny, I loved Manny. I love that show. Still my favorite. Well, my second favorite. Oh man, this has been fun, guys. Well, let's see. I think we'll wrap it up with one more of my from my catalog, talking about my favorite one, mine and Anita's favorite one. Yeah. Here we go. Enjoy. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. The Big Valley ran from 1966 to 69 for a total of 137 episodes. This highly acclaimed TV Western brought us a who's who of great actors, all of whom became classic TV legends. For decades, Barbara Stanwyck was an A-list movie star who had appeared in 85 films. During her 60-year career, Stanwyck earned many awards and nominations, ultimately bringing that movie star power to television in the lead role of Victoria Barkley. In 1953, Richard Long, who played Jared, co-starred in a feature film called All I Desire with Barbara Stanwyck. Long had 3 notable main roles during his classic TV career, specifically Bourbon Street Beat, the initial seasons of 77 Sunset Strip, and of course, Nanny and the Professor. Nick Barkley was played by the great Peter Breck. He was discovered by Robert Mitchum, who got him a role in his 1958 film, Thunder Road. Having worked as a ranch hand and known to have had one of the fastest draws on TV Westerns, Breck was a natural for the many roles he earned in the popular genre. Linda Evans played the stunningly beautiful Audra Barkley. One of her first TV guest star roles was in a 1960 episode of Bachelor Father with her future Dynasty co-star John Forsythe. And did you know that Linda actually filmed the iconic Evel Knievel crash at Caesar's Palace? And reportedly, she later dated her Big Valley co-star, Lee Majors. Go figure. Speaking of whom, Majors was picked out of 400 actors, including Burt Reynolds, for the role of Heath Barkley. Nicknamed the Blonde Elvis, his role as the $6 Million Man was a global success, and as a special treat to Big Valley fans, both Linda Evans and Peter Breck guest starred with him in his 80s series, The Fall Guy. The Big Valley is noted for its fine editing, international popularity, and well-polished look, but for me, as one of my favorites, it was all about that talented main cast. Hey folks, just a quick reminder, you can show your support by subscribing, liking, and following me on all the various social media platforms. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at Golden Rage of TV, and on Twitter. You knew that. I forgot I had that thing at the end there. But you can also see by that video just why the Big Valley was my favorite. I mean, there's just plenty of reasons, and what an interesting life those cast members have lived. And speaking of interesting things, I wanted to let you know I've got some more celebrity guests in the works here coming up. I don't have anything solid yet, but I think you'll enjoy some of the folks that I bring on here in the next few weeks. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, but I want to thank you all for coming. And I really appreciate you being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't. And stay tuned. Things are coming from this channel that are, well, let me smoothly say this, a whole new season of episodes. And so that's on the way. I'm hoping by mid to late September, but we'll see. Anyway, until then, not until then, I'll see you next time and soon. But hey, thanks for coming, folks, and I appreciate you all. And y'all have a good night. And